Continuing on with the primaries to really dark. I'm going to work on the yellows a little bit. As I've mentioned a couple times, it is trickier to create sort of a believable transition from yellow to black, partly because I know if in oil painting and acrylic painting, if you just add black to yellow, it starts turning dark green very quickly, which can be cool, but is not what I think of when I think of yellow getting darker. Don't necessarily think green. Like sometimes I do, but sometimes not. So I'm mixing up some of the azo yellow and some of the Quin burnt orange. I'm going to test kind of test it in this middle one here. Yeah, that seems. I know that I want to make this all three of these darker, but still have it read as in the yellow family. So here's another layer, nice gentle touch of Quin burnt orange and azo yellow. That's going to make it, for now, pretty similar to the one to the right. So let's darken that guy up. I'm going to go just adding more Quin burnt orange and a decent amount of that. So that's pretty, somewhere between watery and juicy. Don't know that that's still going to be dark enough, but again, I'm building up. I will say that painting in layers like this works best with pigments that are sort of naturally more transparent. Some pigments are naturally more opaque, and building those up can be an interesting and pleasing things in some ways and sometimes, but also kind of odd, and at least to my eye. I'm mixing a little bit more yellow and Quin burnt orange just to make sure I am, once again, in the yellow family. I'm going to bring in some actual indigo to keep darkening things down. And this is the part, especially for me, that gets confusing and odd, because the color can... The mix of this is not very dark, I will say. But if I go just too much straight indigo to get it darker, then it gets too cool. It sort of goes in a direction that I don't think is enjoyable. So there will definitely be sort of this, adding a little bit of one and seeing how that goes, testing it out. And you really aren't going to know until you sort of paint and let it dry. So that's getting there. It's definitely a step in the right direction, and yeah, I kind of like that. That seems a little bit too orange to me and not sort of yellow, but I'm going to let these dry and see how they appear after they're dry. Okay. I'm stalling. This is a cool, enjoyable color and hue, but I think it needs to be it's a pure orange sort of color, and I want to start. It needs to be, for this exercise, I'd like it to be a little bit more neutralized, so it's not sort of such a pure, intense, high chroma. That's a whole other discussion. Color. Gray it down a little bit, but not so much that it takes away too much. Anyways, I do want to let it dry before I do that, so I'm going to do that, and I'll see you soon.